Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Forex trading room at Admiral Markets. My name is Chris. We're going to take a look at the charts right now together and also the calendar, for example. The risk disclaimer, though, first of all, explaining that trading for exchange, just like any global financial markets and products, is considered high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. And this webinar is for educational purposes only. Alrighty. Good. With that said, let's move on. We're going to be looking at intraday trading primarily today, and we do that also with the following steps. We're going to take a look at the trend. What is the trend? Is there a trend? If not, is there, a trend or a range, actually? Are we trending or reversing, for example, could be the other question. Then we look for a particular opportunity that could be a price action signal or a pullback or reversal signal. Then we check if there are any filters that could block that particular trade setup from not materializing. Then we're looking for establishing a trigger and then also a more precise entry method using, for example, fibs, trend lines, moving averages. Okay, with that said, let's head over to Admiral Markets website quickly. Now we'll take a look at the Forex calendar. And also tonight we have a webinar, by the way. If you're new in here, just go to Education on the Admiral Markets website, go to Webinars, and then go to Sign Up button if you want to register yourself for another webinar. Today we have the intraday trading. Later on we have oscillators exposed. That is with Tarantula and myself. And next week we'll be back, of course, with all kind of trading. And actually we'll be oscillator trading on Tuesday. Anyhow, let's go now to the Forex calendar, in fact. Thank you, Rolf, for that confirmation, by the way. We had employment change on the Aussie. Pretty good numbers, actually, apparently. We have in 12 minutes ECB President Draghi speaking. That will be interesting. We got a Swiss interest rate announcement, which probably will not change. That will remain probably 0. And we got some ECB and Swiss news throughout the day. Then later on, of course, the core retail sales and retail sales on the USD, and I don't think there's really that much tomorrow. Alrighty, euro dollar. Let's start with that one as always. And now, of course, more than ever, I think, for anyone who was in the trading session by any chance Tuesday or Wednesday, we realize how important it is to define the trend. And now we definitely won't doubt about that because, at least if anything, we were very careful with shorts. The pound dollar, though, did make a pretty sturdy retracement yesterday indeed. Yesterday, the entire day yesterday was actually a reversal kind of or retracement day on the pound. So that is true, but on the euro, we didn't get that retracement day. And you can see that this was just a dip from more upside. So the breakout trades anywhere in here didn't go too far though. And if you trail stop that, you only got about a few pips here. But still, you can see here it was good to avoid shorts because the uptrend basically working very nicely and finding support here from our upside, especially because we broke here above the 886 fib. And in fact, anytime we make a bull flag like this, you can see the euro dollar was nicely moving to the upside. Let me go to the 1 hour. You can see any of these flags here so far working nicely. Not going all too far, but that of course has to do with the fact that we are approaching this year's high and the top. So very important to keep an eye on that, and I think that that's a good confirmation, or a good explanation why it is important. to keep an eye on that. Let me just take this off. We can see that this channel I meant and this fib is also useless. Okay, that's a bit better. We can see that basically Eurodollar trying to push through a weekly resistance, but we also have a yearly top at 138.30, so there's not much space to the upside, but it's still definitely an uptrend. So a bit more upside is possible, but the target 138.30 is now really getting very, very short, right? Every time we were moving here to fibs, let me put that fib on so you can see it. Oh, here it is. You can see we moved up from the 618. That was a great breakout to the 786. Wait, small correction, good break to the 886. Small correction, now breaking up to 138.30 probably. So there's not much space. So the breakout trade, not that fantastic in terms of reward to risk expectations. Pound dollar was a bit different. That definitely had a down day yesterday, although the trend is up. So yesterday in its entirety was actually a retracement day. We did talk about this triangle. Personally, I don't like the triangle break to the downside because I've seen many times the pound then fly up like that and continue. That didn't happen yesterday, and we did see actually a follow through to the downside. Personally, if I would have taken the downside break, I would have been here. That was actually after we closed, and I would have trail stopped the 50-minute fractal, which means here, exiting. So not that much profit on the breakout trail stop at least, but at least something. Now, as you can see, we are breaking back up. We're breaking out of this downside correction. And we broke the triangle here to the upside with a lot of impulse. So today could be an up day on the pound, and there seems to be more space on the pound than euro. So the pound long could be more interesting today. Why pound long, if anyone is wondering? Well, if you look at the 4-hour chart, how can we define a trend? Well, you have to, of course, have a particular time frame in mind. I usually use the 4-hour. So if I look at the 4-hour chart, then I see this. And I see that yesterday's move just brought it back to the bottom, if anything, back to the bottom of the trend channel. And because of that, I also went long yesterday, about this price, in fact, at the 618 fib with a stop loss here. So, you know, there was a breakout trade to the downside from an intraday perspective, from my opinion, below here, although there was someone in yesterday's room that was shorting it from here, which actually worked very well. So congratulations on that idea. It was very good. I mean, it was very profitable at least. As I said, for me it was still scary because I've experienced this as well. But from a breakout perspective, it could have been here. But I was going indeed long already here, in fact. Although this dip went further than expected, all the way to the 886 fib, which would have been even better. And a tighter R2R. But anyhow, that besides the point for the moment. But the pound dollar does like the 886 fib. And in a way, it's sometimes good to plan on 2 fibs. Would have been perfect actually to plan on these 2 or these 3. But anyhow, it's going up. That's the most important. So back to the trend. Definitely higher highs and higher lows. So what is this movement down? It's creating a higher low or potential higher low. Well, actually, it's a confirmed higher low already because we do have a fractal here. So now price is going to move up and challenge this top. Will it break that top? We don't know. It could not break it, move down again, and make a wedge like this, and then still move down. It could break up, respect the top, and then break later. Those things are one of those two are probably likely. You never know, though. It could continue and break up the top immediately, like it did here and here and here. So to me, this is a retracement, a lower high, a bounce off of support, a bounce off of the moving averages, bounce off the bottom of the trend channel. And there is definitely the potential to go to 165, 165.50, 166 even. There is that potential. Today is going to be important to see how this candle closes, because you can see every time the pound dollar had a bearish candle, they had a bullish candle after that, and then the uptrend continued. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of candle we have today. If we have a similar close near the high, then probably we'll continue up. That's funny, Richard. I don't know why. Let's take a look at what Richard has to show. Well, that's an excellent point. I just don't want to overcrowd the chart with too many lines. I want to keep it basic, basically. But I totally agree with this. And it's something that I could easily have on my chart as well. So actually, I had this bull flag for very long. I just took it off. That's all. But this was if you look at the daily wave charts, I had the same bull flag. So I don't think there's any difference there in this case. So that's good news, Richard. Or I hope it is. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll even show it to you. Here. Let's see. Pound dollar here. This was before the break. The wave count, I was saying this is bull flag, waiting for a break here with the green arrow. So that was the trade I was suggesting that is a good probability. So that was a good breakout trade on the cable. And yeah, that was a nice one. So good bull flag, definitely. We got a retest of that line as well. So there was a confluence. And don't forget, the more things that, to a certain degree, the more things that add to confluence, the better. And you can see there's this kind of confluence of the rebound off that trend line and the trend channel, which is great. Let's see how this 4-hour candle closes, but that looks pretty bullish. Very bullish hourly candle. Let's see how that finishes. I think that at one point or another, there's going to be a 15-minute fractal here, though. If someone is not in the long at this moment as yet, then the only way probably to wait for is either still take it here with the stop loss here. It's like taking the 50 fib. But another way of doing it is just letting this 15-minute world ride out. Then wait for hook back and take the next break, for example. The next 15-minute fractal break. Or if someone is in the pound dollar, that could be a scale-in, for example. An extra position if, of course, the risk management allows you have sufficient space within your risk management parameters within your own trading plan. This could break up still a few pips, but it won't it shouldn't move up for 200 pips without any 15-minute retracement or fractal or. So the 1 hour candle just closed. Bullish candle, in fact. Very bullish for such an early candle. Moving average is already pointed up. Yeah, this thing is moving fast. So let's take a look again, because at the moment I think we've discussed all I wanted to discuss, in fact. So if there's any questions, by all means let me know. Otherwise, I will move on to something else. Euro pound has some divergence between these tops, so we could see the euro pound make that downside retracement to the support here, for example, to the long-term moving averages. That's something that definitely could happen with that divergence. Let's take a look at the dollar yen. Dollar yen got the bounce off of the 102 level that we were talking about yesterday. We said if you put a fib on this move down, it's going to stop around 102, which is the minus 618. That's exactly what it did with a 1 hour pin bar off of that fib. So a beautiful bounce signal there. Of course, the fib itself, the fib target itself, often enough a good bouncing spot, and it couldn't be better, I guess. Right to the pip, right, a perfect bounce. 1 hour pin bar off of that. Beautiful how the fib targets themselves work as bouncing spots. And this is how basically you can use within a trend a retracement leg like this to pinpoint with the trend continuation. Very, very cool. Probably even more precise than a Fibonacci retracement level, to be honest. Fib targets of corrections and looking for the bounce off those targets with the trend continuations is a very, 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 very handy tool. So we got a bounce off of the bottom of the trend channel as well. And that's what we were looking for yesterday, a bounce off of that bottom of the uptrend channel, or the bounce off of this support level. Now, of course, the question is how far can this go? Will it make an ascending wedge like this? Will it move up, respect the top again, something like that, and then break? That seems the most likely at the moment. So I'd say there is some upside potential, at least to test this top. Euro yen could be even better though. Let's take a look at that euro yen. Euro yen could be better because we had a pretty good consolidation like this, as we can see, nicely moving down. Good flag here. A bit of consolidation in its entirety. And if we put a trend line on the top of those tops, I took personally a breakout trade above that with a stop loss somewhere, I think the entire bottom, in fact. And I'm aiming for 143. It's a classical pullback, right? Every time we got a pullback, this is trend. That's when pullbacks are very interesting. If you have a trend, you have to keep a very good eye on pullbacks. Look at this. Look at this. All these pullbacks for more upside. So this one is looking similar. And if you look at the 4-hour chart, we have a very strong 4-hour bar. If you look at the 1 hour we do, in the 1 hour chart, this is pointing up already. Good breakout candle. So there was a good breakout trade. In fact, there could even be a stop loss right in here, a very tight stop loss, but I used a more wider one because I was aiming for a bit higher target, but even a stop loss here with the entry here would be okay. And trail stop the 15-minute world. So any dip back to that same level could be a good entry again for continuation. So that's the euro yen. Now if you have any questions, of course, by all means let me know first of all, and we'll take a look at that. If you have any particular currency you are interested in, by all means also let me know. But to me the pound dollar here, the euro yen seem the most interesting at the moment. Also Aussie, we'll talk about Aussie a bit more because I think that has also interesting setups. We were talking about the euro odd breakout to the upside. That is working very well. So we can take a look at that. But the euro yen is a bit more important because it's happening kind of right now. This is the daily chart. And I don't think really I have anything to add. Except if you are in a 15-minute breakout trade, I would just trail stop the 15-minute fractal by 5 pips and let this thing ride out to wherever it wants to go. Let's take a look at the euro odd then in that case. Euro odd had a really crazy breakout yesterday. Nice move up. Got some divergence now between the tops. So that was a really a big move up, 150, 130, and it hit the, no it didn't hit, I was looking for 153.50, didn't get that far yet, it went to 153. In any case, about a 300, actually from the very bottom, almost 300 pip movement. Pretty amazing. And it has, you can easily expect these things when you look at chart patterns, and you look at, or not easily, but you can identify these things when you look at these patterns, and you can see consolidation in the uptrend, then these things can happen. Very cool. So what now? Day charts still moving up. Definitely no doubt about the trend. Are we seeing signs of potential exhaustion or reversal? We'll have to look for divergence there. We had divergence here, which didn't bring the currency back to the long-term moving averages, but still at the 4-hour chart, we're building on a new leg up here. So let's take a look at the 1 hour. No divergence between the recent tops, in fact. So for the moment, I wouldn't see necessarily any big signs that we are going into a reversal mode. There is only a chance, of course, of a retracement back, for example, to the broken tops, and then a bounce. The problem with, or not the problem, but the difficulty with trading retracements is that we don't know where support will kick in exactly at the moment. It could be here, it could be here. What I rather wait for is this retracement leg to finish. We'll get a fractal at the bottom, just like we had here. And let's see how far that retracement can go. For example, here you had a first retracement. If you put on the fib on the first retracement, where did the trend continue? At the minus 272, between the minus 272 and minus 618. Not always is that the case, of course. Here we had a leg correction, we just continued higher. it has to be a bit bigger correction. Otherwise, we just keep on making higher highs and higher lows on the 1 hour chart. So currently this is just in retracement mode, and I would skip that personally and wait for this more confirmation where this could turn for more upside. So that does require some patience to wait for that, but there's an obvious benefit for doing that, because if you have the patience to wait for trends with the trend setups, I do think that in the long run there's value in that. Now, of course, I'm not saying that all retracement or reversal trades are not worth it, but in this case, I don't see clear reversal signs. We're not clear enough, and then what we can only expect is a retracement, and that retracement could be quite mild, and the potential reward is then limited. And then in this case, I think it's better to wait for with the trend setup than attempt to trade a potential retracement that could not go probably that far, in my opinion. So let's take a look at something else, because this doesn't have something that tradable right now. Wow, the pound is really blasting away here. Very good, very good. Happy about that. Well, if the next candle closes like this, then the moving averages are definitely pointed up. Then there wouldn't be any doubt about taking the next 15-minute fractal. What we'll probably see is the 15-minute fractal somewhere here, get a small bull flag, and then the next break would be great, because that would be a with the trend breakout on a 15-minute world. And that would be a second position on the cable. Let's take a look at the Aussie, our down under currency. Aussie had a positive employment rates, in fact. Didn't do much good for the currency though. Did have a spike up here, but that spike got rejected. The news event sent it up, but got rejected for more downside. And the odd USD had a very nice break right in there during the day yesterday. I'm not sure if we talked about that yesterday, unfortunately. I don't remember. I hope we did. I was certainly on my list of things to look for, a break of the Aussie to the downside here to test this bottom again. I'm not sure if I exactly said it yesterday, but in any case, it was a good breakout trade. One could even maybe draw a trend line like this, potentially, but it's excluding quite a big wick. In any case, it was a good breakout trade. And the only thing is that we're quite close to this bottom, which means that there could be a potential bounce from that level. How far can the bounce go? Probably not too far, looking at the speed of this downside, but we could see a decent correction before we move down here. Downside does look probable to me just because of this strong trend so far, and we should keep focused on the trend as long as it lasts. Ride the tide, and what was the other one? Ride the tide, trade with the I forgot the other one. Anyhow, doesn't matter. Ride the tide in any case. So that's what I think we should do with the Aussie. At least if you look at the daily support, that's still lower. The daily support is at 88.50, so there's still space to that level. If you look at the daily candle, big bearish engulfing twins. So any upside here to retrace those daily twins should find resistance, and eventually we should break this support level and fall from 90 to 88.50. Then we'll be breaking the round 90 level number plus this smaller bottom, and we'll be challenging, going down to challenge the bigger weekly bottom at 88.50. This is the 1 hour view. So the question is, how far can this retrace up? At the moment, that is not too clear. What I want to see is still how price responds to this retracement. How does oscillator moves back? In general, of course, we can put a fib on this down move and anticipate a 38.2, a 50, or 61.8. Also important would be to see how far this up move goes. We could put a fib on that and see where the minus 272 target is and the minus 618, which will help support the potential turnaround at those retracements. At the moment, though, it looks like we're going to be retracing and making some retracement to the upside before we turn. So I'm looking for this to finish its retracement and try to find shorts in here. That would be my plan personally on the Aussie. Let's take a look at the pound odd. Pound odd broke as well, although it had some whipsaws when it was breaking this trend line. Let me take actually everything off so that we can see a more clear chart here. Good. And the whipsaw was pretty big. I'm not sure what time that was. Oh, that was last night. Yeah. That was during the odd employment data. The odd strength because of the good employment figures. That news event caused a bit of a whipsaw here with the breakout. Personally, this breakout I didn't take, by the way, but it was something on my watch list. It just broke out at a time that I wasn't watching the charts anymore. And that, of course, always can happen with breakout trades. And that's why, in a way, if you trade breakouts in a group, it does have its advantages, because sometimes if you are specifically geared towards catching some breakouts, particular breakouts that have been building a chart pattern for a while, like this is a big chart pattern, right? And if it breaks and you're not seeing that and you've been waiting for a while for that to break, then you could definitely miss it if you're trading by yourself. Nothing we can do about that. But if you trade it as a group, of course, then you have the advantage of a bigger net of time frames that you can look at. But of course, you have to trust each other vigorously, without any doubt, right? So that is not easy. Within that group, I mean. Yeah, so that was a bit unfortunate whipsaw for those who took that breakout. Depending where the stop loss was, I'm not sure exactly where I would put it. With a news event like the Aussie with the employment rate, would have probably used a bit wider stop loss, because the employment news event on the Aussie is always a bit of a shaker. It's definitely something that moves the market. I don't think I would have gone for its tight top loss right below here, for example. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think I would have done a tight one with that news event around the corner. Probably would have gone to the 1 hour chart and looked at something below here or below the moving averages, which still would have been survivable, in fact. Anyhow, doesn't matter. At the moment, we're getting we had a very reversal pin bar here. Look at that, and I would expect more continuation to upside with this pound odd. Now, there is, of course, a top pretty close by, so maybe not the best spot in the world at the moment, though. And if the breakout trade wasn't taken here, then in that case, I would probably rather just wait at the moment, personally. There was a good breakout trade here after this smaller retrace. Maybe if it hooks back to that level, it could be worth it. Otherwise, as I said, I would probably just wait for a break of this top and some bull flag. Let me see if there's something else that we can look at right now. I was looking at the Swiss yen yesterday as well during the afternoon. Let's take a look at that one. And I was also contemplating a long on the Swiss yen. Eventually, I took the euro yen, but that too had a very, very, very nice bull flag, in fact. Good bull flag, breaking out of that bull flag as we speak. And in my opinion, a potential entry, if not taken here at the immediate break of the bull flag, then this looks like a break, pullback, continue. Different ways of trading that is either taking the break or the pullback or the continue. Let's take a look at this Swiss yen from a different angle. First of all, what is the trend? Well, obviously, it's up. Who in here would like to suggest what kind of things we could use for a, well, maybe that's actually too easy now. I put the answer already on the chart. What kind of things can we use for a trend definition? Well, we can, of course, use a trend channel. And no doubtedly, this is an uptrend. We can use moving averages. No doubt about that. Price is above moving averages. Are there any reversal signals? No. Price is actually into very high territory. There's no resistance on any time frame on this particular chart. So we are definitely not close to resistance. The only thing that we could potentially be worried about is a target that is being close to being hit. So let's take a look at that. Could be. We could be close to the target. Then again, a weekly target like that, I wouldn't be surprised if price pushes through that a bit. But it's good to be aware of that we did stop at the minus 272 here, and we rushed to the minus 618 and stopped there a bit. So that is something to be aware of indeed. Otherwise, there's definitely a good trend. There's no divergence between these tops. So with that regard, there's no reversal potential. But the target, something to be aware of though. In any case, the trend is definitely up. Are there any? Is there a potential opportunity? Yes, there's a bull flag, a chart pattern, just like this and this and this. Those are all good moments, good opportunities. Why? Because they made a retracement, right? We want to avoid buying at tops and selling at bottoms, and we want to wait for retracements like that within an uptrend or downtrend, so that we know that the currency is paused enough that if it continues after that, it's breaking with a sustainable expectation, with enough space to go to a target. So yes, uptrend in place. Is there opportunity? Yes. Are there any filters? No, except there is a big weekly minus 618. So that makes me a bit hesitant. Then again, if the yen really breaks to the upside, I think that minus 618 will break anyhow. So it's a caution point, but something to be aware of. But I would not say that that's enough for me not to take it personally. And then last but not least, the trigger, which is of course this chart pattern, the break of this bull flag. So we do have these things in play. Then of course the actual entry, that could have been here, but also here in fact, a break of that top with a stop loss below the moving averages. That could be a breakout trade that hasn't been triggered yet, obviously. And let's see if price, the advantage is that if price doesn't bounce here, no harm is done. If one waits for that breakout, then one doesn't get caught in a potential retracement that just keeps on going like that. If this indeed turns out to be a false break. If it isn't a false break, then we should get the second continuation and second push through that resistance level, which in my opinion at the moment seems the best trade. Why is that the better trade? Because if there wouldn't be a big weekly minus 618, then I might consider this pullback trade here. So that small difference, or not small, but that difference between the fact that there is a weekly minus 618 would have influence on the entry methods of my choice. Without that minus 618, I would say there's probably a good chance of bounce there. There still is a good chance, but it's not something I would want to bet money on, or bet, maybe trade money, sorry. Let's see. Any other preferences, by the way, regarding the currencies? We got a pound yen potential bounce as well, just like the euro yen, by the way. Let me clean up this chart. Here too, yesterday, I was thinking about the pound yen bounce as well, just like the pound dollar, in fact. This one is doing pretty good as well. Nice bounce. It had some ups and downs here, made a triangle in a way. Couldn't break this bottom, couldn't break this bottom, couldn't break the tops until this morning, and boom. Very nice. If you want to, this is one of those good ways when you want to trade a bounce, but you don't want to trade it right at the trend line. One way of doing that is looking at the hour chart and saying, okay, we got a higher low here, we got a higher low here. When we break above these 1 hour resistances, that's when we are actually breaking out after the bounce. That's how one could trade a bounce trade, is by waiting for the break of the opposite fractal, in fact. So this is a break after bounce. And the advantage is that if it doesn't bounce here, no harm is done. Of course, if you take the bounce directly, the potential R2R is better, but it's riskier as well. This bounce worked well, and the breakout is working well so far as well. Let's see. Anything else? I guess not really, but the only thing I wanted to add is that if you put a fib on this 1 hour retracement, here too, look how powerful that minus 618 was, caused it to bounce. Although we did get a push through it though, here. So let me see how many pips that was. It's good information to know. Let's see, 80. Push through 30 pips. Yeah, something like that could happen. But in general, of course, we can see how that entire area did act as a support. Just extended a bit more on the lower time frames. Pushed through the long-term moving averages a bit more as well. But eventually did get the bounce. Anything else? 4 hour world, of course, the band is now working as support just like it did here and there and there and there. And all those green spots there, the pound yen was acting as support. I mean, the band was acting as support for this pound yen. Alrighty. Well, let's see what to do if, well, this is basically the same as the pound dollar. If one isn't in that trade as yet, which is okay, there's nothing wrong with that, then at the moment, the only thing I can see to do is wait for some pullback here. Whatever pullback it is, and then the next break of this top plus a stop loss underneath the 15-minute band, for example. Because at this moment, I wouldn't want to jump in here either way. Obviously, it is an uptrend, so downside is not, for my opinion, doesn't make sense. Especially because this is probably just the first impulse up. And longs doesn't make sense because I would rather wait for the retracement and next break. So here too, in a waiting mode. Let's see. What else? Kiwi maybe. Kiwi did bounce eventually off this trend line here. Bottom of the trend channel, in fact, if you look at the purple lines. This too came close to just below the minus 618, extended just a bit more, but roughly at the minus 618, only a wick below it, in fact, now bouncing off of that. From a 4-hour perspective, a break above the green could see it move up to challenge this 84 level. So that's what I would see on the Kiwi. The Swissy is definitely in a downtrend, but it has some bullish price action signals right now. So I don't know, I would let this ride out, make a retracement or reversal, whatever it does. I'm still in a waiting mode. Dollar CAD really just doing that much, in fact. Kind of making a falling wedge, maybe, if anything. Could be looking for a bounce to the upside eventually. Pound CAD got the retracement back to the bottom, so whoever took that retracement trade reached its target because we reached the bottom of that retracement, bouncing off now, kind of bouncing off the bottom right now, in fact. Pound strength also against the CAD here. but considering the dollar CAD is in the downside pressure, the pound dollar looks therefore a bit better than the pound CAD, in my opinion, or the pound odd, for example. Euro New Zealand is still stuck in a range here, so nothing really new there. Pound New Zealand, maybe a triangle. Let's take a look. Could be a triangle, although obviously there was a very big momentum here, which leads us to give better odds that a breakout to the upside would work nicely, because this could be a break, this downside could be a pullback, and that we could get a continuation to the upside. That C part would be confirmed when we break above this trend line and top here, and we might move up to a new territory. We might move up even to, for example, 205, which is the minus 272. So that could be a very interesting breakout on the pound New Zealand. Yeah, let's take a look at the AUD New Zealand as well. AUD New Zealand, wow, that reversal didn't go too far. That went less far than I expected in a way, because I remember talking about this one and saying the 382.50 or 618, but in the back of my mind I did think the 50 or 618 was more likely, but we did talk about the 38.2, and it did stop at the 38.2, funny enough. Yeah, very shallow fib. And we were looking at the day chart because of that, looking for the reversal here. Got a bit of upside. Pause because it was at the bottom of the uptrend channel, downtrend channel, sorry. And we had a bit of upside, but really didn't go as far as I thought it would be. 38.2. The funny thing is probably if we put a fib on this first retracement, guess where it stopped? When we put a fib on the very first retracement here, where did it stop? Right at the minus 618, or almost right at it. What's the difference? 7 pips. So that's almost nothing. 6-7 pips, that's nothing. Would have been actually a perfect entry for a short. I didn't do that, but that's how you can see how those fib targets work very nicely. Right at the 382, minus 618 confluence, right close to this top, right at the long-term moving averages. Very nice. Very nice short. So let's see what else leaves us right now. With that said, the target is the minus 272 at minimum, if not the minus 618. I think we should plan on the minus 618 at least, which means indeed, if I agree, a pullback for continue indeed scenario. And we could put a fib on this new downside, I would say. The likelihood of price really going back to the 50 fib here, I think, is very unlikely. I think the 382 is probably the turning spot, so that's why I'm confident in putting a fib on this new leg. That's not always the case, though, because sometimes it can retrace to the same fib still. So that's one thing that often makes losses for traders, is putting a fib a bit too early and still seeing price move to the old fib. In this case, I don't think that is that likely. Not very likely. So that's why I feel confident by putting a new fib on. And in this case, we can wait for the pullback and continue. The 50 fib seems pretty good spot now with the resistance here and the moving average. Let's see if price can get that high. But that would seem a pretty sweet spot for the move down to the minus 618, or two minus 618s now, as you can see. We also interesting to see how far this can go up. If it makes a hook back in between, then we can put a fib on this up move, and there'll probably be a minus 618 at the 50 fib, for example, and that would be an extra reason for more downside. So we could see something like this: up, down, like that. So yeah, definitely agree with you, Weifo. Definitely, that's looking good. Actually, I have an Excel sheet with a list of trade ideas. So let me quickly add that because it wasn't on my list there. Very nice. Good. Richard has a good question. What are the fib targets for each retracement? Now that's a great question. Let's take a look at that together. Let's see. Let me take everything off maybe. Or let me, you know what? I will take this fib off. Use this fib as an example. So the 886 fib is aiming for, in fact, I don't even have it on here because I don't look at it too often, but it's actually the minus, one second. That's strange. Sorry, I just want to, I cannot type there, I don't know why. Just one second. I don't know, it's not responding, so it doesn't matter. In any case, what I wanted to say is that the 886 fib goes for the minus 0.18. The 786 fib, the official target of that one is the minus 272. Then we have the 618 and 50 fib that are going for the minus 618. The 38.2 also for the minus 618, but could also easily be minus 1,000 or higher fib. And the 236 also for more higher fibs usually. Officially. Now there are definitely some exceptions, etc. We can talk about that. Of course, even the 61.8 and the 50 fib could go for higher fibs, by the way. It's not limited to the minus 618. It definitely could go lower. But I'm talking about kind of maybe what we could expect as a minimum, maybe to a certain degree. To put it simple, the 618 to 23.6, they're all aiming for at least this minus 618. And only the deeper fibs are aiming officially for lower fibs. That's the easier way. If there's divergence, for example, then maybe price won't even get to the minus 272, and price might stop at the top or bottom. If there's divergence, then aiming for the minus 272 also makes more sense. So if you want more info on that, there is actually, like a table like Wayfo is asking, there is actually a educational webinar on fibs that explains that a bit more. You can go to Video Archive, and it was one of the very first webinars of this year. Here. So it was, but then we didn't record that one, so we had to do it again. It's the 26th of September. Practical guide how to use Fibonacci. If you're more newer to Fibonacci, then we also have a more beginner's explanation, or we tried to do that, and that was not so long ago. Yikes, I can't find it. Sorry about that. It wasn't too long ago. Now I'm really getting confused. Here. 23rd of September. Scalping for... No, that's scalping. I don't know. It's somewhere here, but very recently, though. Can't find it. I don't know what happened. But it was a Fibonacci for beginners. That was the title. I don't understand. Maybe it's just me who's going too fast through this list. Maybe it's not there, but anyhow, it should be there. So that would be the idea. 786 to minus 272, the rest to minus 618, and the minus 886 to the minus 180. Alrighty. Anyone else have a particular, you want to maybe share some chart with me, or have questions, or we'll look at a particular currency? I guess it's all your show now. Let me know, okay? And then we can look at that. Oh, did it? That's true indeed, yeah. Let me change that. There. That's all nicely indeed uniform. Thanks for that, Jana. We try to add that minus 018 again. Oh, now it's working. I don't know what happened. Good. There it is. Alrighty. Let's see, maybe gold. We can take a look at gold and silver. Silver is bouncing off of that yearly low, or multi-year low, in fact, at 1820. Went to 1880, now bouncing up, but definitely in a downtrend mode. Gold, as I said, I would be careful with this. This does look like a bull flag, but still, I would definitely be careful with that necessarily, because although it does look like a bull flag, this could easily also just have been a corrective spikes, and this is just the start of the downtrend. So for me, I would really need to see more confirmation and an actual break above at least above these levels, at least a break above 1260 to see a move back up to the top of the trend channel. Otherwise, this could be just a retracement back to the long-term moving averages. No, we didn't take a look at the New Zealand Swiss. We can do that right now, in fact. I remember we looked at it yesterday, but I don't remember at all what was said at that time. No idea. Totally blank. But anyhow, we can look at what we can expect in the future, and yeah, it looks like a big consolidation zone. I don't know. It looks like a big consolidation zone with the most recent downside trend. But because we reached the bottom of, maybe a potential bottom of a consolidation zone, that trend could stop. Most recently, price has been quite choppy here as well. Maybe a breakout above this, but we would slam into some resistance as well. But that could happen. If we break out here, there could be some trade maybe to the upside. Otherwise, downside would probably, let's see, could happen if we still bounce off this level here, in fact. Let's put a fib on this very first up move. Minus 272 right here. That could be a bouncing spot potentially for more downside until then. So, 1 second, folks. Folks, I'm back. So that could happen. So I'm not sure. Do you have any particular thing you're looking at, Jano? Doesn't look that interesting to me, but I guess some bounce here, or after that a break, bounce or break potential does seem possible there. Let me know if you have anything you want to share. Björn is saying something interesting here, something odd. NASDAQ 100, 5-year up, just up, no pullback. How do we get in for the big pullback? Maybe it takes a year, maybe in 3 months. Yeah, good question, Björn. I think that that many people have been indeed anticipating a potential pullback on that, and have lost probably some money on that because it just pushes up, and there's probably tons of divergence in the meantime, and it just keeps pushing, and that has everything to do, or mostly to do, of course, with the market psychology that is based primarily on this quantitative easing mindset, and just keeps pushing. Indeed, we can take a look at that. Actually, let me just need to switch to this demo accounts that I have with so I can see these other things. Like for example, oil as well. Wow, oil daily is still pushing down. I actually pushed through the resistance as support because I was looking at this and saying, well, that could be, a potential falling wedge maybe. But we're pushing through that, in fact. Very interesting. This is oil, by the way. It's an oil chart? Oh yeah. That is true, actually. It's 18th of October. Thanks. That's funny. Which one do I need now? I'm not that an expert of this. These letters I need for the oil. Every time it changes, I know, but I always forget which one is the next one. Do you know any chance? By any chance, Jano? Is it it's for everyone the same, in fact. It's not only specifically for yeah, that's a more common, that's a more easier name to know indeed. The official name is something with these letters, which makes it a lot more complicated, in my opinion. Does anyone know? Oh, well, the most upcoming month, basically, right? The most upcoming, the nearest expiring one, basically. XAMX3, yeah, that's a good idea. So that would be XGX3 then. Let's try that one. Yep, no, that isn't good. Well, anyhow, I don't want to make it too long, but let me just try one more. I'll just open all of them, I guess. Nope. Nope, that's all summer. Funny. Well, anyhow, guess we can't look at that at the moment. I'll have to figure it out another way. Not sure what it is, but we can take a look at maybe the, anyhow, the others, like the NASDAQ. Daily chart, you can, wow, look at that. Just keeps pushing. This is the weekly. Was all the way down at 1,000 during the financial crisis. Now more than tripling. And if anything, it was right at the top of the trend channel indeed. If you connect these bottoms, sorry, you connected the bottoms connected to the tops. We were right at the top here, went all the way from the bottom to the top. After we had pauses here, 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 4 up moves, 3 pauses. And within that up move from the weekly perspective, we had, of course, some daily pauses as well here. This was a big chop. Some pause here, some pause here. Break, pull back, continue, pause, and now break again. Let's see, 4-hour world. A lot of divergence as well. But as history has proven, it's definitely staying above these bands, has stayed above that band since the summer of this year. And most of the time, price was above the band since last November, with only some few dips below the band, basically. Otherwise, it all was above the band. Amazing. So maybe a hook back to the band here again. One more upside. Would be funny if that one didn't work, because that would be the very last one that that particular one would not be working out. Whereas of course everything else was breaking to the upside. That would be funny, but it could be possible. You never know. So it looks like this is again a potential support area anywhere in here. This particular downside is looking pretty aggressive to me. So let's see. Interesting though. Let's take a look at Dow Jones. Dow Jones at the long-term moving average here, and that looks a bit bearish to me. We had clearly a lower high here, so maybe that can go back to the minus 618 at 1550. I'm not sure if these fib targets are necessarily useful for futures, but if we use the same methodology, then maybe we can move back to this level right in here. Alrighty, let's go back to Forex for the moment. Anyone else, particular pair or anything else for that matter? Odd cat is moving nicely down. Some cat strength at the moment against the odd. We can take a look again at the euro and see if anything is new. Euro dollar. Let's see. Had a down hour, and it's probably getting into a terrain where we might see a lot of struggle. And because price is moving now, it is still continuing up, but it is the speed at which it's moving up is definitely reducing and slowing down, and you can see some struggle here, getting close to a very big top. It's very close to the yearly high. So all these things are do have a toll, but the uptrend is still intact, therefore not moving down as well. So I think the euro dollar doesn't seem too interesting to me. It could be quite a choppy move. Whereas yesterday was still different. Today, I would be more in a waiting mode with the euro. It's just too choppy, I think. Let's see the pound. Oh, the pound. Yep, that's close to the breakout I was talking about. The 50-minute fractal is there. As I said, there will be a 50-minute fractal. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. And if we look at the angle of the moving averages, what do we see then? We see some upside bent already here. As you can see. So that it looks like a breakout there. If we now look at the 50-minute world, as I said, there will be a 50-minute fractal. That's what we have, and that could be a breakout trade right in here with, well, where I would put the stop loss is below the moving averages, which would be right here at the moment. It's a pretty big stop maybe, but 45 pips at the moment. And trail stop the 15-minute world. So let me try that myself then. In fact, I will add to my buy off the 618 fib, which means, and I'm trail stopping it by 5 pips. Oh. I'm going 2 pips above there plus spread, which means I'll go to 164.18. Stop loss at 163.71. No TP because it's a trail stop. Let's see, how many pips risk is that? That's 29 plus 18, which is 47. Yes, 47. I'll just take a small risk because I have a bigger position already on, so it's just, okay, I'll just take like that. Oh, then the value goes away. Alrighty. What else were we talking about? The dollar yen. Ah, that too had a breakout, in fact. Let's take a look at that breakout. The 1-hour chart, you can see the moving averages pointed upwards after this particular breakout candle. Yeah, which means the dollar yen is the same as the pound dollar. Breakout here, potential with a stop loss below the moving averages here. And trail stopping that as well. So there are some breakout trades on potential on pound and one on the dollar yen. Retracements on euro odd and pound odd and Aussie. Euro dollar mess. Euro yen was a potential breakout, just like pound yen. Pound yen also, if this breakout wasn't taken, there was a breakout right in here, in fact, but the stop loss is pretty big because it has to be below the moving averages, which is actually, yeah, it's too big. If it gets around 75 pips, then I don't take them anymore because they're just too big then. So that's when I avoid these particular breakout trades if the stop loss is more than 75. That tends to happen sometimes, especially on the pound yen. Not often, but can happen more often on the pound yen than other currencies. Euro yen seems to be break, bounce, and go. Challenging its top. here too, the potential breakout trade here above with that stop loss here, in my opinion. Well, I guess that wraps up today. If anyone has a question, by all means, let me know. But otherwise, I'll slowly but surely wrap it up for today. And mention one more time that we have a session tonight, in fact, where we're going to take a look at oscillators. So hope to see you then. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Central European Time, of course, as always. And next week we'll have FOMC statement, by the way. It will be interesting to see what that has to say to us. Will there be tapering or not? And if so, when? This particular webinar would not be uploaded to the Admiral Markets video archive. Only the educational ones are, but this one can be found on YouTube, though, on the Admiral Markets YouTube site. I think that it should be posted there. So if you take a look, try to search on YouTube. If you can't find it, just let me know, and I will try to ask someone who might help us. Okay? Just let me know. I don't know if the euro yen looks to be moving down. I'm not sure. It didn't break the top as yet. Not sure if that's the euro or yen pushing it down. But let's take a look. Looks like the euro, in fact. The yen is also moving down. Both are moving down. Pound is not breaking either. So there's some dollar strength. As I said, the euro is a bit wishy-washy now, with getting to a extent that, yeah, there is an uptrend, but it's so slow, this movement. Actually, it could be breaking through this uptrend line. You know, if there is a potential reversal trade, it could be here, because it is breaking through this uptrend line. For me, it's a bit early. Probably what I would like to see is a full 1 hour candle outside of that line. Then we have a decent chance of getting a reversal trade. Well, let's see if that happens first of all. If we get that pushed through with a good 1 hour candle, because last time's price made a downside, we got big wicks here, right? So. Okay, that's interesting. Wait for which time frame is that, in fact? Dollar yen, especially, of course, interesting for the Ichimoku, because Ichimoku is a Japanese invented by a person from Japan. Was intended for the Japanese stock market, actually. Let me see, where can I find it? Ah, yeah. Yeah, so if we break this Kumo by 12 pips, we would have a breakout trade, a Kumo breakout trade approximately, I think it was, if I remember correctly. But in the meantime, it could definitely be resistance. Agree. Bounce off the cloud here, in fact, as well. We got the Tenkin is over the Kiyun as well. The Chiku span is in the cloud. So there is some resistance on the 1 hourly indeed. 4 hourly is still above support and the Kiyun crossed the Tenkan. No, the Tenkan crossed the Kiyun. Sorry, I think, or is it the other way around? In fact, wait, am I getting it mixed up? Tenkan. No, sorry, the Kiyun crossed the Tenkan. That's actually funny. This was the Tenkan. There's a bullish 4-hour signal, so there could be some retracement here, I would say, before we push up. That's what would seem the most likely indeed. Interesting stuff. Thanks, Wayfo. If you have more of those insights, by all means, interesting to look at from this perspective as well. So we can keep that in mind and maybe do this more often if you like. And well, I'm going to wrap it up then. In the meantime, wish you all a great day and hope to see you soon. Cheers.